this week's edition of the St. Lawrence Coaches Corner. My name is Megan Nichols, and joining me today is Associate Athletic Director and Head Field Hockey Coach Fran Grembowicz. Fran, thank you for joining me today. Can you tell me a little bit how practice is going and how you guys are keeping things fun and interesting with no games on the schedule?
Yeah, so certainly to start the season, it certainly was very different since we didn't get started in probably like three and a half weeks before we really got to do anything with field hockey. And of course, we started in small groups, but the team has been amazing. They really have adjusted very well, probably better than I did, especially in the beginning. But I think we've all settled in. It's been great after 2.5 weeks or so to actually move from small groups into a full team practice, maintaining social distance, of course, and with face masks. But it's nice to have everyone together and really working sort of in the same plane, especially for the first years, because they really didn't have that opportunity to do the bonding that we normally do in the beginning of the year with different kinds of activities like our bike ride, which we haven't been able to have yet, or going out to the cottage and having some dinner and a swim, which now will probably be a skate before we get out there. But so it's been good. It's been an adjustment for sure. But the team really did like the small groups, especially to start with. But again, very anxious to get together and get to learn a little bit more about our first years, especially.
Awesome. Can you talk a little bit about how you guys are working on skill development and how the things that you're working on now are going to be able to benefit you in the future?
Again, those small groups were clutch for really going through some really basic stuff to see what everybody's skill level was after a long pause since we didn't have any spring ball as well, and then to really integrate our first years and be able to see what they bring to the table. And that's been, I think, a really great skill development time. And it's certainly very unusual because normally that time where you can really focus on a lot of individual skill work comes in the spring for us. Then you have a long layover in the summer. So it's definitely different to do it sort of in a season. But again, to be able to start with that and to have that time for skill development is really going to benefit us moving forward. And again, not only with the first years, but all the way up through all of the classes, just taking the time to hone skills that people have already and to work on some skills that we, again, don't normally get the time to be able to do that. And even when we have non-traditional season, we don't always have the time span because it's 5 weeks and it's 16 practice days. So this really affords us the opportunity to get everyone on the same page and really develop as individuals. And as we move in further into the fall, hopefully putting all of those skills together in some game-like situations.
Awesome. How often do you guys hold your practices and how do you make your schedule based on the days that the NCAA has allowed? And do you collaborate with your captains and other members of your teams to help figure out a schedule?
We do. We practice 4 days a week. We started with just 3 days and then we moved into 4. We do collaborate with our captains and our team and really use our captains a lot to really help us work back and forth with what the team needs are. So we've made some adjustments for sure. When we just had our first 3 practices, we didn't really do much on Fridays. And now that we have 4, we moved to a Friday and decided with the captains that it would be good to maybe have a morning practice so they could really have all day Friday to either get their schoolwork done or to go do something fun, which they never get to do in the fall season on a Friday, for sure. So it's been really good with them. We've made adjustments. This is a time of year when classes become that first week in October is always crunch time for everyone with classes and tests and, pre-midterms coming up. So we've been able to either slow down at practice or take a day or 2 off just to give everyone a break, which again is something you don't normally get to do this time of year. And just to allow for some individuals to take some time when they feel a real stress coming on, because learning is really different for them right now. And a lot of the classes are asynchronous, and so a lot of their studying and learning is happening in an entirely different environment than when they were in class. So that stress level has certainly been a lot for them, but I think just giving them that flexibility that, okay, if you miss a practice, it isn't the end of the world. There isn't a competition coming right up. So let's all be smart about what we're doing.
Gotcha. Switching gears on you a little bit, this past Saturday was Make a Difference Day. Can you tell me how your team got involved in the community and how important it is to stay engaged with everything going on?
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of those things too that, I think it benefited us as much as it benefited the community. So we had conversations with our captains, and they just put it out there to the team, and they did a sign up, and everyone showed up to do help out in the community. And I think they had a lot of fun doing it. It's always one of those situations where there are people who probably never have really raked leaf before or trimmed a bush. And so there was a lot of things on Instagram and different kinds of social media platforms that were pretty funny, with people who really haven't had the opportunity to do that. But the community reach out, I think, is really important for our team. And again, this time of year, we don't really get to do it that often. We have a few other kinds of things that we've done that where we've reached out to the community, but to really be involved with the community. And I know one of our first year players, Saturday afternoon, when I saw her, just said, they worked for an elderly woman, and she's just like, I just felt like it was so nice for us to engage with her, both for ourselves and for her. And she's like, I wish we could have dinner with her like once a week just to keep the conversation going. I'm like, well, nothing's stopping you, so it's okay to reach back out and maybe have that conversation with the person. The team has been really good too during the beginning of COVID. We did a fundraiser for our emergency student fund. It was a virtual run, which was also a lot of fun. A ton of our alums got involved with it. So that was a great reach out to connect our alums with our current players as well.
That's awesome. What were some of the precautions that you guys had to take in order to make a Difference Day happen and be able to help members of the community?
Yep. So I think pretty much the standards. So everyone has a face mask or a gaiter on, trying to remain social distance as much as possible. We do have our family groups, so that's a good thing, both from the residence halls and from our team as well. So they stayed pretty much with their family units as much as possible. And certainly with people in the community, just being cautious again, staying that, at least 6 feet social distance, so we don't spread either way, and, making sure they had face masks on at all times.
Awesome. Well, that was all I had for you today, Fran. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope that your practices continue to go well now that the fall weather has officially set in the North Country. And I want to thank everyone for joining us for this week's edition of the St. Lawrence Coaches Corner.
Thanks, Meg.